Is there anything more terrifying than the unknown? In this Halloween episode, we delve into 3 unexplained stories. In our first story, we delve into the eerie depths of the South Pacific. A chilling maritime mystery unfolds after a distress signal is sent from the ship. The rescuers board the ship, and what they find is nothing short of a scene straight from a horror movie. And it remains a mystery to this day. In story number 2, a man is found dead in Australia in 1948 under mysterious circumstances, including cryptic messages on paper folded in his pocket. This has become one of the most famous unsolved cases of the 20th century. And finally, a Haitian man admits himself to the hospital with a fever and fatigue. However, it's not his death that is the strange part. It's what happens 18 years after he dies that shocked everyone. But first, we have an original horror time tale called The Disappearing Act.
Listen now to the tales, the legends, and the true stories. For time is but a human construct, and it knows no bounds. For the paranormal and unexplained, it is always horror time.
Who did you say your friends were? And when did you last see them?
Well, we all went on a hike the other day. We started off at the base of Mount Ralph, just like we always did. But this time, it felt different, something weird in the air. We were trying to get to the top of the mountain before it got too dark so we can set up our equipment. The 3 of us always loved to do this. It was one of our favorite hobbies. We were all fascinated by the vastness of space. As we hiked up to the trail, we finally found our spot. Then we made a fire and started chatting. I think Wyatt was telling a story about his girlfriend and him going camping once and forgetting to hang the food up, and a bear came over and messed up their campsite. And then Finn, oh boy, he thought he was being chased by a Bigfoot once, but it turned out to be just a nightmare.
Now I'll let you know. We ran your friends' names through a database. There was nothing. Are you sure you're with people and they weren't, well, in your head?
I'm not making it up. How did 2 people just vanish off the face of the earth? I've known them for years. I promise they are real.
All right, now, I understand your concern, George. But you have to realize this is a highly unusual situation. We need to consider all possibilities. Let's keep going with your account of what happened. Can you recall any other details about that night? Especially as you approach the meteorite impact. You think it was an extraterrestrial and their oval-shaped ship beamed them up?
Damn it, would you just listen to me?
I'm listening, George. Please, go on. You heard a strange humming noise while you were setting up your telescope. Can you describe in more detail about what happened next?
As I was saying, we set up our telescopes to look at the meteor shower when we heard this weird humming noise and couldn't exactly pinpoint where it was coming from. It resembled like a buzzing in your ear from like a fly. But we looked around and we couldn't find anything. So we just went back to our business about watching the meteor shower. However, we were just about to settle in when there was a whoosh over our heads and then a crash and shook the earth beneath us. It was terrifying. Then we realized one of the meteorites had struck nearby. The odd thing was, no meteorites were supposed to come into our atmosphere. So that was very strange as it hit the ground. So we saw the smoke coming up from the tree line. We grabbed our flashlights and headed over to investigate. As we headed closer to the crash site, I started getting dizzy, and that sound just getting even worse and worse. And I remember, I think Finn and Wyatt, I saw them pass out right before I did. Right before we got right on top of the impact site. And then all I remember after that is waking up to you grabbing me and hauling me off.
Like I said before, there was no one with you. Why don't you tell us what you were really doing out there? You know, you could get in a lot of trouble for having a fake ID.
They're not fake. They're all real. What about my family? Give them a call. Here's their number.
Really funny, bud. I don't know how you got my number, but nice parlor trick. No wonder your documents are so good. They just don't hold up in the system.
It's no trick. That's my parents' phone number. What the hell is going on?
Well, I'm definitely not your father. So, now, George, we need to get to the bottom of this. Your ID, your friends, and your strange story about the meteorite, it just doesn't add up. We need the truth. Why were you passed out on that park bench, and what is with these fake documents? I'm gonna need to investigate further, George. The disappearance of your friends and the bizarre events you've described warrant a more thorough investigation. Not to mention what we are going to do with you producing those false documents. I'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Wait, no, what are you doing? No, stop, come back. We need to get back to the place where the meteor hit. We gotta find out what happened. I'm sure of it. If we go back there, we'll find out. Is this some kind of joke? Shit. I need to remember what happened. Think. Hello? Oh no. Humming noise again. Stop!
Well, George, so here is what's going to happen. What the hell? Where did he go?
This is Detective Rogers. We have a 135 John Doe, goes by the name George, somewhere on the premises. 5'6", blue eyes, silver hair, last known location, interrogation room. Approach with caution if found.
How the hell did he get out? What is that sound? Hello and welcome to Horror Time. I'm Timekeeper Matt.
And I'm Timekeeper Pat.
And today we are going to delve into 3 unexplained mysteries. So, Pat, let's just go ahead right into it. Are you ready?
Let's go.
We float. All officers, including captain, dead. Lying in chart room and on bridge. Probably whole crew dead. I die.
Distress call crackles over the radio, a garbled message filled with fear. The voice on the other end is desperate, speaking of an unimaginable horror aboard the Dutch cargo ship, the SS Orang Medan. The crew of the Silver Star, an American ship in the Straits of Malacca between Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore, were left unnerved after receiving this message. especially since in 1947, tensions were already high coming off of World War II right into the Cold War. The crew set off to the coordinates last known. As they approached the area, the sea was still quiet, and the Ourang Medan was slowly drifting with no sight or sound of anyone aboard, or steam from the engine. The rescue team, completely confused of what was going on, approached the ship and climbed aboard. But on board was just as eerie, if not worse, than seeing it on the approach. However, upon further investigation, it became much, much worse. In the ship, they found the entire crew dead. And the most terrifying thing is how they were found. They were found frozen in place with mouths agape and arms stretched out in front of them as if they were trying to protect themselves from something. Even the dog was found dead with a frozen snarl across its face. Whatever terrified the crew as they died was nowhere in sight. And as the team continued to investigate, smoke started to suddenly rise from the cargo hold, and fire started to spread across the ship. The team quickly hurried back to the Silver Star and looked back out to the Ourang Medan as it completely exploded and sank to the bottom of the ocean. To this day, no one knows for sure what actually happened to the terrified crew. And now the mystery lay on the bottom of the ocean, and we'll probably never know. So that, that's terrifying.
So they were all frozen in place, like
Yeah, so they got aboard the ship and they were dead, but frozen in place, like, just imagine like they're
not frozen, frozen, but like
not frozen,
petrified
frozen,
with
but
fear.
correct, petrified with fear. They were like had arms in front of them, mouths open as if something was attacking them before they died. And that's how they died, like almost as if they died from fear type of thing.
Interesting.
And
There were
even the dog died and had a snarl across its face. So,
it's like they
yeah.
were frozen in time.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, obviously there's been a lot of theories about it, and whether or not the ship actually existed. But yeah, I don't know. What would you think it would be?
Like going on the ship and being like the
I mean, no. Like, what's your? Well, yeah. Go ahead with that. What would be your if you were the one boarding the ship? What would you think would have happened? I mean, like, I don't know. What's the first thought
I
that comes to your
mean,
mind that could have happened there?
go back to the boat and get whatever weapons we have.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Maybe
like,
not go back on the ship.
well, yeah, but I mean, like, what do you think would have happened to them? Like, what do you think happened? Like, what are your
I
thoughts?
mean, my first thought is some sort of like time thing, like freezing. Well, not time, 'cause time's man created, but like their position is frozen. Like
Yeah,
like
but like, do you think like something like attacked them? Do you think something? First thought that comes through my mind, especially since it exploded, is some type of like chemical or something in the cargo hold that caused them to die. But
oh well,
like,
yeah, okay, yeah.
but at the same time, like, why are they stretching out into fear? I mean, I guess depending on like if it's a nerve gas or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I guess because it didn't say if they were like facing each other. Like the dog was looking at another crew member
Right.
and they were turning on each other,
Yeah.
or um, yeah, that's nuts. I mean, I would just go to like it's death because death has control over that type of thing. No,
It's like Final Destination.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
always.
I mean, there have been theories that like pirates and there's been a
I
whole
guess
slew of theories about it.
if
Um,
there was like the pirates knew of a poison or some sort of um chemical they could you
yeah,
know get
yeah,
them.
yeah. But I mean, it also does mention that it was the Cold War, so you never know. But this was a Dutch ship; it wasn't the American ship. But I don't know.
But
It's
then
just
if
it's
they
just
went on
crazy.
board and it was like some sort of chemical or gas,
It just
then
it
wouldn't
seemed
they?
it just yeah. Well, it just seems very like
Yeah.
convenient that it
Now you gotta be like, my brain muscles working.
it just seems very convenient that it just exploded and went to the ground.
Yeah, I think that was meant to happen for sure, to make sure that no one knew what happened or could
Yeah,
investigate.
yeah. I think I think I've seen some theories too of like some type of cryptid monster, that type of thing going, far out there like that. I mean, that would make for a fun movie. But
Um, when you started talking about it, what came to mind at first was like Ghost Ship, the movie. You ever
yeah,
seen that one?
yeah, that
Um,
opening,
yeah. Or
good opening.
what about that Terror series on AMC? I've never watched it, but it kind of
I don't,
reminisced.
I don't think I know what you're talking about. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's like they're on a ship, but it's like, I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about it to talk about it,
Hmm.
so never mind. But I know they're on a ship and it's called Terror and it's about like supernatural things, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
okay.
that happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just very weird. I mean, the stories like that freak me out, man. Like,
The
I
unknown,
don't
yeah.
know. The
Like you
unknown
said.
and like the ocean in general is just terrifying. Like just the
Yeah.
idea of like the unknown of the ocean. Like, I mean, I've just sat there and like looked at the darkness of the ocean before. Like you live close to the ocean, like well not you don't live close to the ocean, but like I'm sure you've been to the beaches and stuff and like it's just
Yeah. I love looking out in the distance and just
oh
being
yeah,
like,
it's fantastic.
whoa.
But like especially at night where it's like pitch black. Oh man,
Oof.
it's terrifying, but it's cool. It's like a
Watch out for those sirens.
right? Well, it's almost like a beautiful terrifying. It's weird. It's hard to explain,
I like
unless
that story. That was a good one.
yeah,
I've never heard that one.
it's an interesting one. Yeah. All
Um,
right, you ready for the next one?
I had a question. So it was he was like radioing in the beginning, right? It wasn't like a telegraph, not that far back. No, duh, it's Cold War. Never mind. Just
It's
kidding.
yeah, it's 1947, so it's like only a couple years after World War II. So yeah, they obviously would have had
JK,
radios.
I promise you I was paying attention. I just being dumb.
It's all good.
All right. So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead with
All
the next
right.
one.
So, November 30th, 1948, Australia. The stage was set for a series of mysterious events that would come to define the strange tale of the Somerton Man. Between 8:30 a.m. and 10:50 a.m. on that fateful morning, the elusive Somerton Man is believed to have arrived to Adelaide by train. So he purchased a ticket for the 10:50 a.m. train to Henley Beach and curiously did not use it. This ticket held a unique distinction as it was the first of only 3 sold to that specific area and all issued between 6:15 a.m. and 2 p.m. During this time, there also exists a gap in our understanding of the Somerton Man's activities. And strangely, there's no record to suggest that he went to the bathroom or anything of the station. There's no ticket found in his possession to indicate a visit to the bathroom. So we don't know if that's what happened or what he was doing during that time. Um, but sometime after 11:15 a.m., the Somerton Man checked a brown suitcase into the railway station's cloakroom. So, he also purchased a 7D bus ticket for a bus scheduled to depart at 11:15 a.m. from the south side of the North Terrace, just in front of the Strathmore Hotel, opposite the railroad station. The precise location where he boarded the bus remains unclear, but there is a possibility he hopped on it at a later time elsewhere in the city. Intriguingly, his ticket, again, was the sixth of 9 sold between the railway station and the South Terrace. The bus reached its final destination at Somerton Park at 11:44 a.m., and it's surmised that he must have disembarked Glenelg, conveniently situated near the St. Leonard's Hotel. Now, notably, this stop was less than a kilometer north of a woman named Jessica Thompson and her street address, and merely 400 meters from the spot where the lifeless body of the Somerton man was discovered. Now, throughout the day, various witnesses reported the sightings of the Somerton man, with observations occurring between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. And it's estimated that he consumed a pastry sometime between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m., because those were details that were drawn from his eventual death. Then, as the clock struck 2 a.m. on December 1st, the Somerton man was found lifeless, and the time of his death was rapidly estimated based on the state of rigor mortis. Due to the suspicions of suicide, no attempt was made to determine the exact time of his death. And it's important to recognize that at 2 a.m. estimation, it might not be inaccurate. It might be influenced by the effects of potential poisons, or just the progression of, or the potential poisons on the progression of the rigor mortis, because that's one of the theories, that he was poisoned. As the new year dawned in 1948 on January 6th, the Adelaide Rail so at the new year, as the new year dawned on 1949, on January 6th, the Adelaide railway station stumbled upon that brown suitcase that belonged to the Somerton man. Between the 6th and 14th of June, an intriguing piece of paper bearing the inscription Taman Shud was discovered concealed in a pocket on the Somerton man's clothing. Now this perplexing narrative then led to the coroner's inquest held on the 17th and the 21st of June, an attempt to unravel the mysteries of the actual part of this case. So it was no longer considered a suicide at this point. On July 22nd, a man came forward with a copy of a book named The Rubaiyat. I don't know how to pronounce that. Um, that he found on November 30th, or possibly a week or two earlier. It's not quite sure. The book contained an unlisted phone number and a cryptic inscription that police later connected the Taman Shud paper to this very book. So it was ripped out of this book, the paper that they found on his jacket pocket. So on July 26th, the unlisted phone number that was discovered in the book was traced to a woman living in Gleneagles named Jessica Thompson, the one that we mentioned earlier. And then when shown a plaster cast of the Somerton man's face, she didn't identify the man as well. So that was kind of just a flat lead there. But finally, on just July 27th, Sydney detectives located and interviewed a man named Alf Boxall, and the plot thickened, and the case grew more intricate, with connections between various individuals and perplexing circumstances surrounding the Somerton man's untimely demise. So, on July 27, 1948, Sydney detectives finally tracked down and interviewed Alf Boxall. It was a crucial moment in the ever complicated puzzle of this case. The intertwining threads of this mystery were becoming more intricate, and with each revelation, a tangle of connections linked between the likes of Boxall, Jessica Thompson, and the mysterious Somerton man came about. As they dug deeper into the strange case, the investigators were met with more questions than answers. The significance of Boxall's role in this perplexing tale was still veiled with uncertainty. And was he a key player or merely a footnote in a much larger, shadowy narrative? We do not know. With each twist and turn, the story of the Somerton man's kept defying attempts at unraveling its secret. The Taman Shud Code, the book, the unlisted phone numbers, and the unidentified body found on the beach, these elements were all part of a web of intrigue that just continued to baffle investigators and captivate the public's imagination. But the biggest question remained. Who was the Somerton man, and what was the nature of his connection to those who became entangled with this case and his death? The mystery of the Somerton man persists, casting a long shadow over one of the most baffling unsolved cases in history, leaving us with more questions than answers and sparking the curiosity of amateur sleuths alike. Now, the identity of the Somerton man did remain a mystery despite the collective efforts of investigators, amateur sleuths, and the curious public. And as the years passed, various theories emerged, but none provided a conclusive answer to the question of who this mysterious individual was. And in 2011, the case took an intriguing turn when researchers exhumed the Somerton man's body to extract DNA samples. The hope was that modern forensic techniques might finally shed light on his identity. However, despite these efforts, the mystery remained unsolved. So, actually, recently, within the last couple of years here, not even, they were able to piece together who this individual was, the Somerton man, from DNA tests and also photos taken. And his name is Charles Webb. So they've discovered that at least. So there's an update there, but the rest of the case is completely a mystery. No one has ever put anything together of what this thing in his pocket is, what it had to do with his death, if it had anything to do with his death, and if any of these players um, are actually involved in all of this. But yeah, it's a strange, very strange case. Um, it's just strange because of the cryptic messages on him, like that's just what makes it strange. I mean, my first thought coming off of it, I was like, was this like a mob hit or something? Like they were just trying to send a message? Like, what was this? I don't know. It's creepy though, right?
He was like, well, it's like he was like bouncing all around, and then
Yeah.
like you're getting towards the end of the story. I'm like, who the frick is this guy? Like, what, how could they not? Like, well, how is his name not on the ticket? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I know.
It
He
was
was bouncing.
frustrating me.
I know. It's true because like I same reading it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like and like researching this is like this guy. I mean, these accounts are coming from people who claim that they saw him throughout the day. Um and yeah, I guess he bought the ticket, but how do they know he bought the ticket? Um unless they from all the stuff that they figured out about him. I think
I'm
that's why, but
I'm like amazed at like how the forensic technology they used to get that like information. Like
yeah,
now they
isn't
went
that
back to
wild?
like
Yeah. That's always the
because
coolest thing. Yeah.
like how like that's like back then they didn't like yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, like, it's so cool that the technology today is catching up to the point where they're able to solve these cases. I mean, there was that, famous case, from Philadelphia where the kid was in the box. They found this kid in a box, and for years and years, they never knew who he was. He was just a murdered kid in a box, and they finally discovered his identity, like, I think a year or 2 ago, but it was a big story. But it was one of those, again, unexplained mysteries that happened,
Was that
and
the one
yeah.
that was like in the box in the woods or something?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember all the details, but the kid was found in the box, and they finally discovered who he was, and were able to, the family was able to put him and that all that to rest. So, um, but it's amazing the things that they can do now, even years and years later. I think because that happened in the 50s, and then this happened in the 40s, and like just years and years later, they're able to just exhume, take DNA, and just figure it out. Like
Like
it's a pretty
wa-
incredible.
watch out, Zodiac killer.
Yeah, right. Um, but yeah, it's just creepy. Like just those circumstances, it's just weird. It's really weird. Like what's with the cryptic message? Like what is that all about? And like you said, he was jumping around. So like was someone after him? Like was he trying to get away? Was that's what like
You
almost
know,
kind of so what it almost
it's
kind of seems is like he was trying to like cover his tracks. Like
he was trying to be like super random
right,
and
like
throw it off. Yeah,
buy tickets for this, but not actually go on it and not go there, and then buy tickets for this and board it from another part of the city, and then this brown suitcase that didn't really have anything inside of it, like anything of importance, which is weird too. And
Yeah, he was
yeah,
definitely trying. It sounds like he was definitely trying to throw someone off, though,
yeah,
for sure.
for sure. Yeah. But what it was just remains a mystery. And it's just people have been trying to go. Like I was looking at Reddit threads last night and people just go crazy with it.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot you can like you can just
We could
like
go deep.
you, yeah, you can do a deep dive of people that just like try to figure it out and it's pretty fun. All right, so you ready for the last story?
All right.
All right. In the spring of 1962, the story of Clairvius Narcisse unfolded in the heart of Haiti. At the age of 40, Clairvius checked into Albert Schweitzer Hospital, presenting symptoms that included a fever and this weird, eerie sensation of insects crawling beneath his skin. And his condition worsened. The hospital staff admitted him only to witness his rapid decline. So, just 2 days later, after he checked himself in, doctors declared him deceased, and an official death certificate stamped that it was the end of his life. With heavy hearts, obviously, his immediate family arranged a funeral and laid him to the rest in the local cemetery, sealing his coffin with nails which adhered to the tradition. For most, obviously, this death would signify the final chapter, but this journey was far from over. 18 years later, the unimaginable thing happened. Clairvius Narcisse returned to his native village, embarking on a quest to find his sister, Angelina. Their reunion was nothing short of miraculous, identifying himself with a childhood nickname that only the two siblings knew. Obviously this convinced Angelina of his identity. The shock of his reappearance rippled through the community, but a thorough investigation was confirmed that the impossible that Clairvius Narcisse had indeed returned somehow. Narcisse's story became a global sensation, capturing the imagination of many. From the moment he checked into the hospital to the day he reunited with his sister, his narrative unfolded with a twist that defied all conventional understanding. He remembered the doctors pronouncing him dead and the sensation of being buried alive. He the enigma surrounding Narcisse's experience just goes beyond the boundaries of mere belief and enters the realm of deeply rooted, powerful voodoo culture. Haiti's rich history of voodoo and its association with zombies has its origins in the African concept of nzambi, nunzambi, meaning the spirit of a dead person. The African slaves brought not only their physical bodies to the New World, but also their spiritual beliefs and practices. These beliefs endured in Haiti, evolving into the formidable and often misunderstood voodoo religion. The question that lingers is whether Clairvius Narcisse's account is fact or fiction. To assert that one has to become a zombie is not a lightly claim in Haiti. Such an assertion without evidence could result in ostracizing. Therefore, it is improbable that Narcisse simply concocted a story of being transformed into a zombie without substantial support for his claims. However, there are alternative explanations. Now, Narcisse's ordeal may have its roots in the administration of a carefully concocted potion meant to induce death-like state using tetrodotoxin and bufotoxin from pufferfish and toads, along with the deliriant datrasantronomium. Whatever. When expertly mixed, these substances could plunge a person into a deep coma, a condition so convincing that it could convince you that, and even medical professionals, that the person is dead. While Narcisse's incredible story captivated the world, it's also left room for skepticism, obviously. Some argue that the power of suggestion and the profound impact of the voodoo culture may have played a role in shaping his narrative. In the end, the truth about Clairvius Narcisse's journey remains elusive, caught in the delicate balance between science and mysticism. The fun fact, inspired by the incredible story of Clairvius Narcisse, a man who transcended the boundaries of life and death, filmmaker George Romero introduced the concept of the zombie to the popular culture. His groundbreaking work, including the classic Night of the Living Dead, laid the foundation for a genre that has continued to captivate audiences for generations. Whether a symbol of the supernatural or a product of scientific explanation, the legacy of Clairvius Narcisse lives on, inspiring art, stories, and endearing fascination with the unknown. Now, there is a story tied to this as well of what he liked to explain, that what happened to him, of how he was resurrected from this. Um, the story is that in the midst of let's see, so there exists this an alleged voodoo party that adds yet another layer of intrigue to this story. Rumors swirl about a clandestine gathering deep in the heart of Haiti, where participants under the watchful eye of Bokor engage in rituals that invoke the spirits of the dead. In hushed tones, it is said that during these nocturnal ceremonies, attendees dance to the rhythmic beat of drums, their bodies swaying in harmony with the haunting chants of the voodoo priests. Now, at the height of the ritual, the Bokor, dressed in ceremonial garb and holding a skull adorned with candles, is believed to summon the spirits of the deceased. These spirits, it is said, rise from the realm of the afterlife, crossing the ethereal boundary to interact with the living in the mystical realm. The veil between life and death grows thin, and it is there that the stories of the Walking Dead take root. Now, while such accounts remain cloaked in secrecy and shrouded in mysticism, they add to the complex tapestry of voodoo in Haiti. The alleged voodoo parties beckon offering offering a glimpse into a world where the supernatural and the mundane coexist, and the boundaries between the living and the dead. Whether these gatherings are a genuine conduit to the spirit world or merely tales spun from the intricate threads of the Haitian folklore, the allure of the unknown continues to cast its spell. Now, the stunning twist in this tale that he said brought him back to life was when someone under the veil of night disturbed Narcisse's resting place. A Bokor, a practitioner of Haitian voodoo and sorcery, he is the one that exhumed him from the grave in a state of paralysis. Narcisse was subjected to a concoction that would plunge him into the death-like slumber. The sorcerer then whisked him away to a sugar plantation where he would join others trapped in zombie-like condition. Narcisse endured harsh labor in the fields, perpetually under the influence of the potion that kept him in this trance. 2 long years passed in this nightmare existence until the Bokor who had enslaved him passed away, and seizing an opportunity, Narcisse, now an empty shell of his former self, escaped the plantation and vanished into the world. So that's it. And he did live till like 1994 or something like that.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
1994?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah. Crazy, right? That's a weird story.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Like
40, 40. Yeah, he was pretty old. Because he was 40 in 1962.
Holy crap.
He wasn't that old. He was like in his 70s.
I mean, he already
Right.
died once, so
That's weird. One, I didn't know that inspired George Romero, which is
yeah,
a cool fact.
that's awesome. I
Uh,
was like, what?
yeah, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. One, being buried alive is like the most terrifying thing I could imagine. I
Yeah,
don't know. For
even like
me,
if
it's
he
not
was aware of it, even with the potion, like you would still freak out in your shell, you know? You still have to breathe.
right. Right.
Or like,
Yeah. That's the one thing that kind of gets me. It's like, well, how would he have survived that? Because like you're only supposed to survive like 20 minutes or so. Like if you're buried. I mean, I don't know how deep they bury them in Haiti tradition, but like, here it's like 6 feet or whatever. and usually 6 feet underground. It's like only like 20 minutes or so, and I don't know
Yeah.
that whole detail about him remembering pronouncing dead and like all of that and like being buried. I'm like, oh gosh, that is like my biggest fear. It's like my biggest like irrational fear is that. I don't know why, but
And
it's
they
terrifying.
nailed the coffin.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. He said that this,
Like, yeah, I
voodoo
guess
priest
he
or whatever, I guess they would be considered Bokor. He was the one that exhumed him and then enslaved him, and then Bokor died, and then he got out and found his sister. And that's where he was for 18 years. So I don't know how long he would have been in the ground, I guess. But it
must
sounds like
be
he was
it must be one
enslaved.
of the like a Dr. Frankenstein thing, if it's a fresher, like when he was looking for body parts to build the creature. Wasn't it like
Is that
more
what it was? Yeah.
fresh? Like fresh
Yeah.
parts were what he wanted, so he would probably just hang around
Yeah, but the
and
guy
be like,
wasn't dead. But the guy wasn't actually dead.
"Oh, that's right."
If the story's
God damn
true,
it!
either he was or wasn't. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's just a weird story. Like, but then he was turned into this zombie-like state. But like, I don't. It's creepy. It's really creepy.
Hypnotized.
My
And
first
like
two were about death, and this one's about resurrection.
he
But like,
when
it's
he went
just
to the hospital
weird.
in the beginning for
Yeah.
what it was a fever and like sounded like bugs crawling in his skin.
Yeah,
I
he had some
thought
like weird sensation in his skin. Yeah.
I thought maybe he took something like drug wise that he wasn't aware of,
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
isn't it like
But that could,
meth that does that too,
yeah,
like
something like
the
that. But I mean, like
scratching or
that could just,
whatever.
yeah. But that could just play into the fact that he was given this concoction.
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
That is
I don't
weird.
know. Yeah. Really
People
weird.
coming back
But
from the
anyway,
dead.
yeah. Take that for Halloween. You got two weird deaths, and zombie.
Zombie! They're gonna get you, Barbara.
Oh man, it's such a great film.
Oh my gosh. And that's
So
that's
good.
cool. Like you said, I didn't know he took inspiration from that, so that is just awesome.
Yeah. And he never calls them zombies too. That's the other thing. Like he doesn't use that term. He
Oh
introduced the
yeah.
idea of it, but yeah, he does not use that term zombies. He never called them that. They were living dead.
Yeah.
And it's never
Yeah.
known. Yep.
Oh my god,
Hmm.
now that I think
Yep.
about it, how many times I've watched them.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
That's hilarious.
So, yep. On the fact.
I like that.
But yeah, I mean, this idea of zombies is a very prevalent thing in Haitian culture, and those who practice voodoo and stuff like that. Haitian zombies is like a thing. You can look more into it. It's very interesting. Hmm.
I want. Oh,
But anyway, you got anything else to add? I think that's
I
it.
was gonna ask more questions about him being a zombie, but then I remembered he was just chemically induced.
Well,
I'm
I
like,
mean,
wait, no.
but yeah, but like from that ritual, it sounds like they made him into a zombie. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They made him into like a zombie like state, and then enslaved him to work on the plantation.
Unless from the beginning they just targeted him for some reason. The person, the
Yeah,
Baku,
maybe.
Bako, Bakor,
Um,
Bakor,
Bokor,
Bakor.
Bakor, something like that. I don't know, Bokor or Bakor. Not sure.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Nice.
weird. Yeah. So those are some
Well,
fun
happy
unexplained
Halloween,
stories for
everyone.
you. Right, right. Happy Halloween. Do you have anything else to add, Pat, or is that pretty much it?
Enjoy getting all that candy, everyone. I know I will.
Right, Right? Yeah. So yeah, have a happy Halloween. We are going to have a special Halloween horror time review episode of the cult hit film Trick or Treat. Very excited for that because for me that is the quintessential Halloween film. Um, so definitely excited for that one. So
That was a gem
tune
for
in
sure.
on. Yes. So yes. So if you want more if you're looking for more spooky content, follow us on our socials. We have more spooky content there for you. And then also hit subscribe and rate and review so you can get those updates on all the spooky content that we share here at the podcast and keep going with it. So again, guys, have a happy Halloween, but we will actually see you on Halloween itself. With that episode, it will be coming out on Halloween. So stay spooky, my friends, on this spooky season.